Okay, evolutions, Digimon World 1. Well, where to begin? Let's start with the simple one, shall we? So the fresh ones in trainings, don't worry about a thing. They just gotta age. They'll digivolve, no worries. Then the in training into rookies. That is where you get to choose a little bit and to influence the whole evolution system thingy. Still pretty damn simple though. Ignore the adjust weight thingy. Apparently the target weight is below zero. That's why it's a -5 to 5, because it's always target weight plus or minus 5 weight for the thresholds. But for in trainings to rookies, there's only one thing that matters, it seems, even though we have only one test case to really test it out on. I'll explain that a little bit later. But the main thing is you just need to get a high stat for the Digimon that you want. In this case, I was almost gonna say if I wanted a Gobmon, but that's obviously ridiculous. So we're quickly gonna change this so that at least the green bar ends up. There we go. Oh, that's all. That seems like a minor error in the tool. Yeah, that's weird. Well, anyhow, the highest stat is actually what's gonna determine the outcome of the evolution. So in this case, we would get an Agumon, because our offense in this case is the highest stat. You need to, if in comparison health and MP to the other stats, divide the health and MP by 10. So in this case it would be like 150 and 150. So 300 is our highest. In this case is offense. So we'll end up with an Agumon. There is, however, one weird scenario. Tsunomon, and that's Tsunomon. And the thing here is Tsunomon does not have an offense stat. Now this is what I meant by we've got like only one odd one out to do some testing with and to compare some stuff with. But you can actually prevent Tsunomon from evolving ever. She can basically just pass away from age. And that is done by having your offense always the highest stat. So ignore this green bar here, that's just a side effect. But if in this case Tsunomon would not evolve, no matter how old she gets, no matter how high her weight, care mistakes are low or whatever, she would never evolve. Because offense is the highest stat, and there is no priority stat for Palmon or Betamon as offense. It's just not a priority stat for any of the evolutions. So that's how you get Tsunomon to like stuck in Tsunomon form for some weird reason. But then here's the most interesting thing, because we've got a new theory for the rookie champion and champion ultimate evolution. But we'll get to that later. Like the difference, we'll get to that later. Right now I'm just gonna explain you how these evolutions work. So first of all, the first thing we need to do is enable an evolution. Now how do we do that? How do we enable an evolution? To do that you need to meet 3 criteria. And the possible criteria are split up in 2 major groups. One is the main criteria group and one is the bonus criteria group. And then there's another requirement you need to know about. You need at least 2 main criteria requirements to be met. The third one can be a main criteria, but it can also be a bonus criteria. And only one bonus criteria will count towards the evolution score. So if you meet 2 main criteria, you can go for the last main criteria, or you can do a bonus criteria. Meeting multiple bonus criteria will result in nothing. So what are main criteria? Main criteria are health, MP, offense, defense, speed and brain as a whole. All of the stats. That's one main criteria. 1 point if you will, if you meet it. If you meet all the stats from the criteria. So in this case for Greymon it is 100 offense, 100 defense, 100 speed, 100 brains. If I got that, I meet the stat criteria, which is a main criteria. I meet one criteria. The second one is care mistakes. The third one is weight. Then we've got the bonus criteria, which is either happiness, discipline, battles, or number of techniques. If a Digimon has a happiness criteria and I meet it, then there's also the number of techniques criteria, bonus criteria, which is every Digimon has it. Well, every ultimate or champion evolution. Let's keep it with that. And if you meet that, then you've got 2 bonus criteria met, but they will only compensate for the lack of one main criteria. So in this case, let's just see what it effectively means. So I get the stats. Right, so I fill in 100 on. Notice that this has not yet disappeared because we do not meet the stat criteria just yet. We need at least 100 brain as well to meet it. You need to meet all the stats or you don't get a single point for it. There we go. We've got one criteria point, if you will. Then the care mistakes. Currently we're meeting it because it says you are allowed to do one more care mistake. I'm allowed to do one more. So basically we've got the 0, right? If I don't fill anything in, it's 0. So the limit is up to 1, limit included. So we meet it, right? Then we can do the weight. I've set this weight to 25. There we go. We meet in 3 criteria for Greymon because we've got the stats, we've got the care mistakes, we've got the weight. Job well done. Greymon enabled without any of the bonus criteria. But what if I get 2 care mistakes? Boom. Now we get a false because we've got too many care mistakes. There is not a line telling you you've got too many care mistakes because other than getting a Tsunomon or something weird, you can't reduce your care mistakes. If you really want to reduce your care mistakes, you could get Digivolve into a Tsunomon, go to King Tsunomon, revert him back, and boom, done. You've got no care mistakes. But that's something a whole different story basically. Anyway, so we've got the stats 1 point. We don't meet the care mistakes. We've got weight right 2 points. No Greymon enabled. What are we gonna do? We're gonna get a bonus criteria to compensate for the lack of the care mistakes, for the lack of that point. How do we do it? Well, we get 90 discipline. Easy enough. There we go. Boom. Greymon enabled. If I were to get a shitload of techniques, in this case I have 56 in this playthrough here. As you can see, nothing changes. If I get too low discipline, well, I still got it enabled. But nothing different happens from getting more than 2 bonus criteria. Whoops. 56. There we go. So if I were to fail his weight like this, 20, boom, there we go. Now, the only main criteria we meet is offense, defense, speed, and brain. That's 1 point. We failed the care mistakes, we failed the weight, but we do have 2 bonus criteria, the discipline and the number of techniques. As you can see, it's still false because only 1 bonus criteria will count towards the criteria score. So we have to increase his weight back to 25 to enable it. See, so that's all for enabling an evolution. Right? So we're gonna fill this in. There we go. So this is our Digimon right now, right? So let's go and give our Digimon those stats. Let's set this back to. I'll actually keep this 125. That'll work. That'll work perfectly. 125. And set this to 3 care mistakes. I've got a save like this, so. And the happiness was set to 100. and discipline to 50. But we've got the number of techniques, so it's still enabled. There we go. Right, so we've got 800 health MP, 125 stats. Right, 3 care mistakes, 25 weight. Right, 100 happiness, 50 discipline, 65 techniques because we've got them all. Right, there we go. Whoops. So I'm gonna let him digivolve right now. Let's speed it up. Blah blah blah. Here we go. There we go. Greymon. Right? Just as we expected, Greymon. But here comes the tricky part. I'm gonna load it back. Why did it become Greymon? Because we've enabled all but Monochromon. Thank God. I wish we didn't enable Tsunomon, but that's just the way it is. Anyhow, we've gotten Greymon because Greymon's score, the priority score here, is equal or higher than the next in line evolution. So what is a score, you're probably wondering. Well, this score here is the sum of the priority stats, health and MP divided by 10 again, divided by the number of priority stats. And in this case, because we have offense, defense, speed and brain, that's 4 stats, and they're all 125, the average of the stats is 125 obviously. And Meramon has 125 because he only has offense, which is 125, so that obviously is 125 average. But what if we were to raise this offense like this? Boom. Now Greymon has 131 average score, whereas Meramon has 150. Now this is a big deal, because what happens now is the game is gonna say, okay, so we've got Greymon enabled, first in line evolution, because he's on the top, by the way, I forgot to mention that. The whole priority thing is, it's a fixed value. As you can see, the top one is Greymon, Tsunomon at the bottom. Now notice the order: Greymon, Meramon, Birdamon, Centauramon, Monochromon, Tsunomon. Greymon, Meramon, Birdamon, Centauramon, Monochromon, Tsunomon. This is the natural order from the game, and it's just 1 to 6, and it always starts at the top enabled evolution, which is in this case Greymon, and well, he's number 1 in priority, but so be it. So Greymon, number 1 enabled evolution, or the evolution that is enabled with the highest priority, has a score of 131. It's then gonna check for the next enabled evolution, which is this one, true, is Meramon, and he's got a score of 150, which is higher than Greymon. So what the game is gonna do is, okay, it's not gonna be Greymon, his score is lower than his follow-up. So he's gonna check for Meramon, 150. Next possible evolution, true, found. Birdamon. Birdamon is 125, which is lower than Meramon. So it's gonna digivolve into Meramon. Before, it would digivolve into Greymon because it had an equal or higher score than the follow-up evolution, which was Meramon with 125. So, like I said, we're gonna set that to 150. Check our stats. Those are all good. 25. Okay, I'm gonna set offense to 150 now. Set age to 72. And there we go. Keep this up. There we go. We get Meramon. So that's a little bit odd, but that kind of fucked me up when I was doing the 100% run, latest 100% run, and I was getting just really weird evolutions because I had my techniques really high, and like all of the rookie into champion evolutions have techniques requirements. So I enabled like lots of evolutions all the time, even though I didn't want to, and that kind of made really messy situations with stats and all. And well, that's how we found out about this. actually, I really want to credit Sid for it. I mean, we're doing this together, but Sid found the flaw in our theory for this. He figured out that the game uses this system. He's very good with numbers, and this is one of his amazing jobs that he's done. So really credit for that, Sid. And again, cheers, mate. So what happens if we up his speed? Because it's gonna be even crazier. Let's change that before you forget it. So we set speed to 175, offense to 150. You might have already noticed, but Greymon 143, next evolution enabled through 150. Okay, so we're gonna start from Meramon 150 through 150, but this one is 175. So Birdemon is now our highest priority. The next evolution in line is Centaurimon with 125. So it will become Birdemon because she has a higher, an equal or higher score than the next in line evolution again. So here we go, unpause that. 72 hours, there we go. And we get a Birdemon. So what if, let's see how far we can push it. But here we go. See, so now this is interesting because Greymon now has a higher score than Meramon. Centaurimon has the highest score though. This is what we used to think. Before it would say, well, it's going to become a Centaurimon because he has the highest score. But that's not true. It will become a Greymon because he has a higher score than a follow-up evolution. So here we go. Let's do it. 175, 125, 150. Offense, defense stays. This is 175 speed, 200 brain, 72 hours. There we go. And this kind of makes it a little bit more logical, or this gives like a lot of, it gives a lot of randomness to the game, a hell of a lot of randomness, up to the point where I think it's kind of, it's overshooting its purpose really. It's gonna confuse the people rather than introduce new evolutions. I mean, let's face it, we all ended up with a lot of Tsunomons, you know, even with this system. And Greymon was still very rare. But in a way, if you understand the system, it gives kind of a flexibility. Because I used to think that Greymon was very hard to get, but now I know he is not. Because basically you need to get your brains, you need defense, speed and brain higher than your offense, and you'll get Greymon. If you enable a Meramon, that's the thing you need to do. Because if you don't, you'll probably end up with a Birdemon if your speed is really high. It's you have to understand the system to really make use of it. I mean, it's a pretty good system, I guess, once you think about it. But oh well, like, who cares, right? You guys know about it now, so who cares about the situation if you didn't know about it? Now you know how it's made. Now you know how the digivolution system works, or the evolution system. And the tool has been made to automatically calculate the priority for you, as you can see. Like if I keep lowering this, it'll eventually just poof, there we go, Birdemon. See? So you basically don't, you have to do less interpretation work now with this tool. Still, if you want to manipulate it, and if your current situation does not give you the evolution you want, well, then you're gonna have to think a little bit. But hey, we're humans after all, you know. It's good to think once in a while. Anyways, I hope that helped you guys out. If it did not help you out for some reason, be sure to check out our evolution guide. The link will be in the description. You can also always find the link to it in my Twitch channel or any other video of mine. If you want to read up about it again, there is a whole chapter about evolution. in the in the subparagraph 417, there's priority where this gets explained. Yeah, if it all doesn't help, or you just want some personal feedback from me, or some help or whatever, give a shout out on Skype, YouTube, Twitch, whatever. Just contact me, and I'll contact you back and try to resolve the problems you have. So good luck out there, tamers, and see you next time. See you.